Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. Napoli lost 2-0 to Sassuolo thanks to goals from Locatelli and Lopez in what was a horror result in this Halloween weekend for Napoli. This was not the performance or result that Napoli wanted, and let's look at why, starting with formations. So this was actually the same formation that beat Atalanta 4-1 a few weeks back, with Politano and Lozano on the wings, Osimhen up top and Mertens in the middle. On the left in defense we have Hizai instead of Mario Rui, and that's because Sassuolo are a very attacking team. Even though they don't have Berardi or Caputo with them, it's still De Zerbi's philosophy to go and attack the game. In the middle we still have Bakayoko and Fabian because Elmas and Zielinski are still not at their best form, having just returned to training after being a month off due to COVID. But even with this same formation that beat Atalanta, Sassuolo really outplayed Napoli, and we can see that in the match stats. From the match stats, it is very clear that Sassuolo did two things very well. One, they were very cynical with the opportunities that they had. 4 shots on target, 2 goals. And number 2, they blocked Napoli from playing the way that we wanted to play. We had 84% passing accuracy, which was the lowest we had all season. We had 43% of possession of the ball, which was also the lowest we had all season. And what's worse is that from the 12 corners that we managed to get, we were never dangerous in any of them. Alright, now let's analyze some of the key moments in the game and tactically how Sassuolo outplayed Napoli. Sassuolo played offensively with a 3-2-4-1. They had 4 players in between the Napoli midfield and defense. If the ball ever got to the 2 midfielders, they had a lot of options in front of them. Meanwhile, Napoli defended deep with a 4-4-2, not allowing the 2 wingers much space behind them. What is interesting is that Lozano sometimes pressed forward and it turned into a 4-3-3, while Politano always stayed in the midfield line. This is because we needed to make sure the very fast and dangerous Sassuolo left wing Boga was marked at all times, while also making sure that Di Lorenzo remained free on the right to cover the space where Boga would like to run in behind. So Napoli defensively were actually really organized. We didn't allow Boga any opportunities to become dangerous, and in fact they only managed to score with a penalty and a counterattack in the very last minutes of the game. The issue is that Napoli was never dangerous going forward. We were too slow, too predictable, and we had no presence in the midfield, along with Sassuolo defending extremely well. So let's take a look at how that was. You can see here in this picture that Koulibaly is forced to carry the ball into the midfield, and Sassuolo are just backing off. They don't want to press the person on the ball and open up spaces in behind them for Osimhen to run into. We have 5 Napoli players all pushing the Sassuolo line back, but no Napoli player coming to collect the ball in the middle. There's a complete lack of midfield and attacking presence in between the lines. Very intelligently, Sassuolo double mark on Mertens, leaving only Hizai unmarked, forcing Koulibaly to pass it to Hizai, our weakest player, and so obviously making it difficult for us to be dangerous. Whenever we did get the ball in the final third, Sassuolo were very quick to reshuffle and again make it extremely difficult for us to do anything dangerous with it. You can see in this screenshot that everyone is marked very tightly, and there's an extra 2 Sassuolo players free to pick up any loose or through balls, track any midfield runs, and double mark on a player if needed. But the key thing here is, where is Fabian? Why is he not in that frame? The thing with Fabian is that he's too slow to join the attack. What we need from him is for him to be an attacking box-to-box midfielder, someone a bit like Lampard, someone a bit like Gerrard in their prime. We need Fabian to develop into that player, especially when there's Bakayoko on the field who's a bit more defensive minded. So the game was extremely difficult for us tactically, and we never managed to get behind Sassuolo's defense except for an opportunity in the very last minutes of the game. Here we see Koulibaly taking charge and giving a beautiful pass from the middle towards Osimhen. Osimhen doesn't reach it because he's getting his shirt pulled, and I can only assume the ref doesn't give a penalty for that because Osimhen is also pulling the Sassuolo defender shirt a bit naively. And obviously, as Napoli protest with the referee, just like how it happened last year versus Cagliari and Atalanta, the opposition team breaks and we have Manolas left completely alone against Lopez. Manolas desperately lunges into a tackle, which Lopez manages to avoid, and in fact he goes past a few other Napoli players, manages to get a shot away. The shot is actually partially saved by Ospina, but it bounces into the goal anyways. Mario Rui maybe could have done a bit better, but it's useless as anyways it was the final minutes of the game and we were already losing 1-0. Because actually Sassuolo scored their first goal in the 60th minute because of a very clumsy and late tackle by Di Lorenzo in the box. The ref had to take a look at the VAR to award this Sassuolo penalty against Di Lorenzo, who apart from that had a pretty average game. The thing is, even if Sassuolo outplayed us tactically and it never seemed like Napoli were going to score, we still did have a few chances, and we'll go over them as we look at the player ratings. So for our player ratings, let's start off with the players who didn't perform very well, and let's start off with the players who missed our best chances. So a 5 goes to Osimhen, who missed several chances, and I think they really cost us the game this weekend. Osimhen had a huge chance right at the start of the first half where the keeper played the ball directly to him and Osimhen just shot it straight back at the keeper. He could have done a lot better from there. And if he had scored that, it would have changed the game completely. While it was 0-0, he also had a great chance just outside the edge of the box where he should have hit it a lot better, but instead he hit it over the bar. And throughout the game, he had several headers that he managed to win inside the box, but all of them were off target. And aside from all these chances that he missed, Osimhen needs to stay a bit more calm and composed. He seems a bit nervous lately. He got a red card on Thursday against Real Sociedad. Today we saw him protest a few times, not only for that shirt tug, but for various decisions, even corners here and there. He needs to be a bit less emotional and just go and enjoy his football yet again, just like he did against Atalanta. A 5.5 also goes to Mertens. He also had a very big chance in this game that he missed. A cross came in from Politano, and on the volley, he dragged it wide. But guys, let me just say, although it looked like a very bad miss in the moment, I had a look again, and this is actually a very difficult chance to score because it's on the volley, he's running, it's coming to him at a very strange angle. The keeper is well positioned. He's not even centrally facing the goal. So yes, maybe he could have done better, but it's not that bad of a miss. We've seen worse. Definitely the Osimhen one was much easier to score. Other than that, Mertens had a good free kick that was saved by Consigli, and he was quite good defensively, tracking back quite a lot, but not very lucid in attack and didn't create lots of chances. The same can be said about Lozano, who also gets a 5.5. Lots of good work defensively, did a lot of tracking back, a lot of pressing, but unfortunately that meant that he was not very lucid in attack, lost the ball way too many times and did nothing really creative going forward. And finally, a player who really did not impress me today was Fabian. Absolutely no presence going forward, very predictable, very slow, no vertical forward passes, always horizontal. We need Fabian to start stepping it up, and it's very good news that Elmas and Zielinski are starting to get a few more minutes. As for two players that, even though we lost, did really well, Koulibaly definitely deserves a 7. He won most of his defensive duels, made no mistake, always in position, and often took matters into his own hands, became that extra midfielder, and almost gave Osimhen an assist to level the game. How many center backs in the world can do all that in one game? The answer is not many, and it's great to see Koulibaly finally reaching his top form again. And finally, a 6.5 to Bakayoko. Defensively, very solid. It seemed like any ball that was within a 3-meter radius to him, he had his foot on it and stopped a lot of Sassuolo counterattacks. He didn't propose very much going forward, but that's not his role. That is more Fabian's duty to play the ball forward and create chances for us. And finally, a 5.5 to our coach Gattuso. Defensively, we were very solid even though we conceded 2 goals. But my question is, were we too solid defensively? Should we have risked a bit more and kept Lozano and Mertens a bit more free from defensive duties? That would have meant they had a bit more energy and lucidity up top to make the right passes, to dribble past a few more players. Could we have done that instead of sacrificing them so much in covering spaces? Also, I feel like his substitutions were a bit off today. Zielinski should have come on for Fabian at the end of the first half. We needed someone in that midfield to create a numerical advantage and dribble past a few of the Sassuolo players. That is something that Zielinski can do, but Fabian cannot. Why Zielinski was only put on with 10 minutes left, I'm not really sure. And Zielinski and Elmas were brought on in the end for Mertens and Lozano when we played a 4-2-4, but we kept Bakayoko and Fabian as the two midfielders in the middle. But for me, that was pointless because I think the issue that we had was that we had no one going forwards in the middle. And so if you put Zielinski and Elmas on the sides, you're not really solving the main issues of this game. And finally, I think that he needs to improve on Napoli's set pieces. It's now 5 games that Napoli did not score any goals from set pieces. I'm not saying that we should turn into a team that only scores from dead ball situations. What I am saying is that Napoli need to start scoring from set pieces as well, because in games like these, they can make the difference between getting a few points or going home with a loss. So guys, overall, it's a very disappointing day for us Napoli fans, unless maybe your name is Jen Rogard, who from the Napoli Discord managed to get a job today. So shout out to him. Anyways, guys, apart from that, thank you for watching this video. If you want Napoli to win the next game, then go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to see more videos from me at Napoli Talk. And let me know in the comment section below what you think Napoli should have done better. And as always, Forza Napoli sempre.